Welcome back. This is Youth in Agriculture, and thank you so much for keeping it here. And right now we are at the section where the pigs are being reared, and Kavita will be telling us perhaps what's informed your decision for you to start keeping pigs. And so far, for how long have you been in it?
I started pig keeping in 2020, May. So a friend of mine who had done agribusiness in college was doing it. So he's one of the biggest farmers in Kiambu. So he's my age mate, so I kept visiting him because I kept wondering like, where do you work and things like that. So he had started his own pig farm. So I learned at his place for about 3 months. I'll just go over the weekends, find out different things. You know, it's one thing to get information, it's another thing to just observe how everything happens. So my initial stock was from him, even feeds and everything I got from him and started. So I started with just 2 housing units when I first started off, and then within 6 months I'd built another 2, and then within another 8 months I'd added about 10 more units because I found the business profitable and it was working out well for me. Then with time I added this section here as our mothering unit, where because now we have at least 10 mothers in rotation, so we always have enough. So this is more like our maternity ward where wanazaliwa hapa, then after they grow we move them down to the other sections where we separate them either for meat or for reproduction.
So your production goal is pork?
Yeah, my production goal is for both pork and piglets. So like the market segment for pigs ni tatu. So the people who will buy piglets to go stock their farms. And recently there are a lot of farms starting around, so I'm having like a lot of people booking piglets so that they can start their own farms. And there's another market for pregnant mothers where someone wants to go start a farm but they don't want to start with piglets, so they will start with pregnant mothers. So there's that, and then of course the biggest market is pork, where all these butcheries from around come and buy from here to sell as meat. Before 2019, though not as, I think there's only like one pork place in Machakos, but in the last 2 years, almost every local market has a pork butchery or a pork place. So it's really picking up as the meat of choice. Even now, when the local butcheries come to take from the farm, my neighbors also book piece of meat. So these are people that were not consuming pork at all, but after tasting, they're like, oh yeah, every time ukichinja, please sell me a kg, sell me 2 kgs and that kind of thing. So we're also getting a local market and are planning to go like probably open a local butchery around because the demand is enough to warrant that. And then also, of course, there's more money selling direct.
Let's talk about feeds. And we know pigs are heavy feeder.
Oh, yeah.
How are you able to break even, and especially currently with the crisis of high cost of feeds?
Oh, yeah, I suffered a lot, man. Like when I was initially starting, commercial feeds were around, I think it was like 2,000 a bag. Now it's about 4,500. Yeah, because now it's been at 45 per kg, if you're lucky, sometimes more. So initially when prices started going up, I found that I was making losses, so I had to find a solution. So same thing, like I brainstormed, me and the guy I was working with, and we started using concentrates. Concentrates just require you to have maize. So ukiwa na mahindi, usiage, you mix with the concentrate, then it forms a good feed. But then again, maize prices went high, so it was not available first of all, and then the prices were too high to do that. So now what I do, I get feeds directly from manufacturers. So instead of doing retailers and all that, you find what has come up is like there are smaller manufacturers, so not necessarily your bigger guys like Unga Group and stuff like that. So you'll find like small scale people, unapata maybe anapata mahindi cheaper importing from Uganda or Congo, and they get other ingredients cheaper by directly sourcing from farmers. So I found that it was controlled quality because, I mean, you still get it to a lab and test for quality of feeds, and then you get it cheaper because they don't have as many overhead costs, and then they're doing a smaller scale. So at the moment, I am directly sourcing from a farmer because he has over 1,000 pigs. His needs are much higher, so he always produces his own feed. So I ask him to make extra for me, and he does. A lot of the breeds that I've had the advantage of having someone who's doing it and who's done it before, has made their mistakes, has made their wins, and learn from them. So it's someone opening up the entire business for me to see anytime I feel like, and to be able to call anytime I feel like. So I didn't have that. I didn't have a lot of blind things. So anytime there will be any issue, I would have someone to call who's done it before and who's done it really well. So that was a huge advantage for me. The second thing was that I have a lot of inputs that I've also put, so kuna time nilikuwa na shida ya feeds kabisa and I couldn't get. So I was using whatever I would get from the farm. So like hizo cabbages, skuma, nini, whatever is left over. Of course, you can't do that for long, but for the 2-3 days you have maybe logistical challenges of bringing food, they can eat that. The other advantage is that just like the local market is growing faster than production. So unapata demand huku it's much higher than supply. So during our pork season, like when we have a lot of production, we sell out so fast. So that's what actually has helped me expand into more units, because I realized with every unit I was having, I was always selling out. Alafu una nyama anymore because capacity yako ni kidogo. So I'm trying to grow bigger so that I can supply throughout the year. So there are all those factors of location and things like that. And also because of location, I'm far away from other pig farms. I don't get as many diseases because most pig diseases are moved from one farm to another. Initially, before we converted this house into a pig housing unit, ilikuwa nyumba ya kuku kienyeji. So we used to have maybe 300 to 400 chicken. So I mean, the reason I switched is because chicken are too much work. It was purely a preference. There's money in chicken. Like actually, when I started selling the meat, I would sell out every other weekend because I would transport meat to Nairobi, and every week I was getting double the orders I get the previous week. So it was good business. But the amount of work it takes to grow chicken was not something I was willing to do. Like they're more labor intensive, and then also they get sick a lot. And I didn't want to do that. But they have nice margins. So I switched to pigs. And at the moment, from birth to market, we do anything between 7,000 and 10,000 in terms of cost. And then at market, we are making minimum 5,000 per pig. Yeah, when we make the minimum, that's the minimum we make. So there's good market from there. When I compare it to the rest of the crops, I think they're very different because of the work. Because your pig, ni unaoshia nyumba yake, then you feed it, that's it. So in terms of labor, they're the least labor-intensive thing that I have here, except the fruits. In terms of cash flow, they're really good. Because they're able to pay back in terms of labor and feeds and make a profit on top. So it's a good balance. And then also, because I plan to be hosting farm stays and farm tours, you always need a source of meat. So that's the other reason I've really kept the line of meat going. So that for weekend farm parties and stuff like that, there's a lot of money in that. You'll buy it more than wholesale. It's at retail price, value addition. So this is where I keep once we win them and they are grown from 4 months, we move them here. So some of them are purely for meat cars, zile ziko castrated, and then others are for reproduction. So we keep them as ikingoja kupata mimba. So we choose depending on size and depending on the number of teeth for optimum production. So I have 2 boars. Like hii ndio dume ya shamba, I always keep him alone. And then these are his wives. Let me put it that way. So at this stage, they consume about 2 to 3 kgs per day of feeds. Yeah, to control inbreeding, I always castrate all my males, and then I use boars from other farms. So ni nini ya kununua? Ndume wanakuwaga wa kununua from another farm, then every male that is born on this farm is castrated. Then sometimes I like, because other farms now like picking my breeds, whichever ones that are not castrated are kept in one pen. And for a farm like this, you don't need more than 2 males. Yeah, we just need 2 males at different sizes, because kuna different sizes. And then pia, you can't use the same male twice in a day if you want optimum production. So it's always nice to have 2. So in case you have 2 pigs that are on heat on the same day, you can give them to different males. But inbreeding is very important to control because of the quality of produce that you get. So it's always better when you get them from different farms. And then also for better breeding. So huku tuko mbali sana, I can't speak at artificial insemination because it has to be so accurate. Then by the time you place an order, you have to be so sure, and then because of the distance, it's harder using AI, so you just use natural methods.